They never saw his face. Only a man dressed in black, a hood, a symbol on his chest. He didn't run. He didn't panic. He spoke calmly as he tied them up. He killed without fear. And decades later, one sentence from his code still remains. I am not afraid of the gas chamber. This is the Zodiac Killer. The late 1960s were supposed to be hopeful. America had survived World War II. Prosperity was visible everywhere. But beneath the surface, the country was cracking. The Vietnam War divided families. Political assassinations shattered trust. Authority no longer felt safe. Fear didn't arrive suddenly. It crept in. And in Northern California, fear found a voice. It was cold that night. David Faraday was 17 years old. Betty Lou Jensen was 16. They parked along Lake Herman Road, a quiet stretch surrounded by fields. No witnesses, no streetlights, no reason to be afraid. Until headlights appeared behind them. A car pulled up. A man stepped out. He didn't shout. He didn't run. He walked calmly toward the vehicle. Moments later, David Faraday lay dead, shot once in the head. Betty Lou Jensen tried to run. 5 bullets entered her back. She collapsed in the darkness. The killer drove away, and the night swallowed everything. At first, police thought it was random. Teen violence, a jealous boyfriend, a local predator. They were wrong. Independence Day. Fireworks lit the sky. While families celebrated freedom, someone prepared to kill again. Darlene Ferrin and Michael Mageau sat in their car at Blue Rock Springs Park. The same stillness, the same vulnerability. Then headlights. The man returned. This time he didn't hesitate. He opened fire. Glass shattered. Metal screamed. Bullets tore through flesh. Michael survived. Barely. Darlene did not. Then something happened that changed everything. The killer didn't flee into the night. He picked up a phone. At 12:40 a.m., police received a call. A man spoke calmly. I want to report a double murder. He gave directions. He described the victims. Then he added something chilling. I also killed those kids last Christmas. Then he hung up. For the first time, police understood. This wasn't random violence. This was someone who wanted to be heard. On August 1st, 1969, 3 newspapers received nearly identical letters. Handwritten. Carefully phrased. Inside each envelope was a strange symbol. A circle with a cross. The writer claimed responsibility for both attacks. And he demanded something impossible. Attention. Inside the letters were ciphers, codes, puzzles. The message was clear. Print this or more people will die. The newspapers complied. America was officially afraid. In his next letter, the killer signed it. Zodiac. Not a nickname given by the press. A name he chose himself. That mattered. Because Zodiac didn't want to hide. He wanted an identity. Zodiac wrote constantly. He mocked police. He taunted journalists. He ridiculed investigators. He didn't just describe his crimes. He performed them. One letter read, I like killing people because it is so much fun. Another followed. Man is the most dangerous animal of all. This wasn't rage. This was ideology. For decades, Zodiac's ciphers remained silent, unbroken, untouched. Until 2020, that year, one of his most infamous messages was finally decoded. The 340 cipher. After more than 50 years, the Zodiac spoke again. One line stood out above all others. I am not afraid of the gas chamber. Even decades later, he was still taunting, still defiant, still convinced he would never face justice. This time, the Zodiac didn't want to be invisible. He wanted to be remembered. When Brian Hartnell and Cecilia Shepard looked up, they didn't see a man. They saw a figure. He was dressed entirely in black. A hood covered his face. On his chest, drawn in white, was the Zodiac symbol, a circle crossed by a vertical line. It wasn't a disguise. It was a costume. For the first time, the Zodiac wasn't just killing. He was performing. He spoke calmly, politely. He tied them up slowly, as if this moment had been rehearsed. This was the only time the Zodiac chose to be seen, and he made sure the image would never be forgotten. He stabbed them methodically. Cecilia Shepard died 2 days later. Brian Hartnell survived. and he would later say something chilling. The man never sounded angry. He sounded normal. Before leaving, Zodiac walked to their car and wrote dates, locations, weapons, a timeline of murder. Zodiac escalated again. Paul Stein, a taxi driver, picked up a passenger. Minutes later, he was dead, shot once in the head. This time Zodiac took something, a piece of Stein's shirt, and mailed it to the newspapers. Proof. Police were closer than ever. Officers stopped a man matching the description, but due to miscommunication, they let him go. The realization came too late. Zodiac vanished again. To understand Zodiac, you don't start with the murders. You start with the letters, because the letters were not an afterthought. They were the point. Zodiac didn't kill in a frenzy. He planned, he waited, he rehearsed. And when things went wrong, he adapted. That suggests intelligence. But more than that, it suggests arrogance. Zodiac wanted control of the narrative. He wanted authority to feel weak. This wasn't hatred of society. It was compensation for invisibility. His talk of slaves in the afterlife reveals everything. Zodiac felt powerless in life, so he imagined total control in death, a fantasy born from insignificance. Arthur Leigh Allen was a school teacher. He lived near Zodiac crime scenes. He owned weapons. He spoke openly about killing. He even talked about calling himself Zodiac. Police watched him for years. But there was another detail investigators could never ignore. Arthur Leigh Allen owned a watch, a Zodiac brand watch, the symbol on its face, the same cross circle the killer used in his letters. Allen claimed it meant nothing, just a coincidence. But for many investigators, the question lingered. Why would a man already under suspicion wear a symbol so closely tied to the killer's identity? Was it arrogance? Or was it simply a man enjoying the attention of being mistaken for something darker than he really was? DNA did not match Allen. Fingerprints did not match. Handwriting analysis was inconclusive. Allen died in 1992, never charged, never cleared. Richard Gaikowski, Lawrence Kane, each fit pieces of the puzzle. None completed it. What if Zodiac wasn't remarkable? What if he was ordinary? A man who went to work, paid his bills, and killed when no one was watching. That possibility terrifies investigators because it means Zodiac succeeded. Technology failed. Jurisdictions didn't communicate. Evidence degraded. And Zodiac understood that. He exploited the system. The Zodiac Killer was never caught, but he was never supernatural. He was human, and that makes him far more frightening. Was Zodiac Arthur Leigh Allen, or someone history overlooked completely? Leave your theory in the comments. And if you want more unsolved true crime stories, subscribe, because some mysteries never die.